just a little bit, and just so you hear a little bit of the music as we kind of phase that out and get started. So a lot of stories coming in from around the world as it relates to the spread, the continuous spread of the coronavirus, COVID-19. A lot of it is really quite concerning. And if you saw yesterday's news conference with the Ministry of Health, Minister of Health, Dr. Dwayne San, says that the ministry is preparing itself for a potential surge, and that it's almost inevitable, he gave the impression of. And so I don't we kind of talk about all of that as well. So Cara, can you put that on there and then turn the music down, or no? It would not hold. Maybe we just lean it against it and then pull the music down and then come back. Try it and then just sort of lean it against, and then because we need to get that music down. So guys, please bear with us, and as Cara worked out the whole sort of stand there with that the phone is on. Okay, maybe here's what we do. This is reality TV. So Natina, you can go and hold that for her. She brings the music down, and then kind of steady as she goes. Steady, yeah, steady. Okay, awesome. Thank you very, very much. How's everybody doing today? Big hello to you, Shay. Hi, Kizzy. Hello. Thank you all so much, and thanks for being patient today with the tripod. We have a different tripod today, and so we're just kind of trying to really work on that. And so, Natino, you can come back, and Cara just may have to hold it or see exactly what it is, but it's a different tripod there, and it's not working with us today. And so I'm just really happy to have you all tuned in. Happy to have you all tuned in. Cara, you may have to pull it a little bit because I'm looking at it and I can't see. Yeah, that's okay. Just a little bit if you could pull back, and then you obviously will have to be there for the rest of the day. Yeah. I don't know if you can hold that. Like, can you hold that? It's guys, today's show could possibly be just a bit abbreviated. Please tune in, share the video. Panelists, if you both can share the video, I'd be very, very happy, to your social network. And let's get it started. It's a conversation about millennials. All over the world, millennials are challenging government and the mandate of governments, talking about their feelings, their thoughts, their sort of resentment at being told what to do, and the fact that self-quarantine, why? Self-isolate, why? What is social distancing? All of these things that many people see in many countries determine that is perhaps the best course of action for their citizens. Millennials are bucking it and are very, very upset about that. And so, listen, let's just kind of, let's first of all meet our panelists today. I want to hear you guys introduce yourselves, and please let people know exactly where you're from, just a little bit about you, each of you. And then let's get some opening remarks before we kind of jump in. By the way, hello social media, thank you all so much. Thank you all very, very much for, thank you, who is this? Lorena says, love the new studio. The audio sounds great with the music. Listen, Lorena, you see the whole thing coming together, right? Thank you, Ashley. Thank you guys very, very much. I appreciate it. Still trying to work out a few kinks, but I thank you all for watching. Please share the video, get involved. Let's meet our panelists, and let's jump right in.
Okay, so hi, my name is Bettina Thompson, and I'm a history and psychology major at the University of Bahamas. I'm a senior, and I'm almost done. I can't wait. And I just like to have conversations. I believe, from the first time that I was invited, I believe that we need to have these conversations, and so I try to show up and have those conversations, give dissenting opinions, and give my perspectives, and then hopefully we can meet at somewhere in the middle or find some common ground where we can actually execute action, because I'm all about action. I believe in congruence between thought and action.
Okay.
You know, even though as human beings we can be very incongruent at times. So yeah.
Yes, Lord. Let's meet.
You were supposed to graduate this semester?
No, so I have one more.
One more semester.
One more.
Okay.
So you're not being affected by everything.
I am being affected, unfortunately.
How are you being affected? Introduce yourself first officially.
All right. So, Natina, I can let you finish.
Okay, that's fine.
You said you had more to say. My name is Ashley McLean, and I'm an English education and Spanish major at the University of the Bahamas. Like Natino, I probably don't have the conversations more so in public. These serious conversations, I like to have them with like family and friends in like intimate settings where I feel safe, safe spaces, because sometimes when you share your thoughts, people aren't very accepting or understanding, or because they don't know you, they tend to not understand where you're coming from. So I feel more comfortable doing it in that kind of way, or I'll do it like in papers that we've had to write for classes, express myself that way, and then I'm able to thoroughly say whatever it is that I'm trying to say. So that is the approach I take, but I do feel that with the conversations and having these conversations too, action must follow. Don't just be hearers, but be doers of the word as well. So I feel that from these conversations, we should be able to come to a solution and then be able to carry out the solution that we've arrived at. And I was supposed to graduate this semester. We'll have the ceremony. We'll probably still graduate, but we won't have the ceremony. And so the ceremony has been postponed.
Has been pushed back.
For the University of the Bahamas.
Everything, because everything is now
photos. If you haven't taken your photos yet, your session is being postponed. They'll have to refund your money, depending on how things pan out, because we don't know how things are going to go.
Right.
Everything is at a standstill. Everything closed.
So you feel as though, oh my God, I am kind of set back for a year, an academic year.
I don't feel that way because I know that I'm done regardless. It's just that I won't be having the ceremony. I guess the ceremony would be cool because you get to celebrate. You're supposed to celebrate when you come to. There are times when you should celebrate, So I feel that would have been good, but I don't feel, I guess, too discouraged or bothered by it because I can get my degree anyway at the end of the day.
And so, listen, today, of course...
but I know some people who are very emotional about it.
But we can talk about that.
They're so emotional. Yeah. They're like, all this work, and I don't get to walk across the stage and have a party. And I know having their family and friends around is very serious for them, but they're super disappointed about it. So I empathize with them too.
Yeah, and so today my special guests are our University of Bahamas students, Natino and Ashley, and they're here to talk about a lot that's going on in terms of where Millenials stand and their position on COVID-19, the coronavirus that's really gripped the world. And the Bahamas has put, people say, but it's only 4 cases, what y'all doing? But like every other country, the Bahamas must sort of step ahead of this message and try and take precautions to keep all of us safe and as minimum cases as possible. I want to say a big thank you to everybody. Leanna, I think it is. Leanda says, I love the social distancing. I'm happy that you guys see the attempts here to lessen the panelists, because we have to practice social distancing. I see Kissy say she missed the Hot Topics panel, but I have to put this in place because we have to practice social distancing and kind of do our part to prevent the spread of the coronavirus, as we still try to understand it. You see New York today, if you were paying attention to the headlines, I think the governor of New York says, listen, by the week or in a week, he expects medical supplies at hospitals to dwindle and to be, challenged. And so imagine the city of New York having that challenge, or any other city around the United States that has incredible budgets. Okay, and so we have to do what we have to do because really as it stands, the Ministry of Health has allocated $4.5 million here for COVID-19. And so we have to kind of, as best as we can, be as smart as we can. And so that is why you see a minimum amount of people here today. Big hello to everybody. Gadine McLean, thank you so much. Hello to you. Lisa says, Lisa, I hope I'll just have them hopefully put the mics up a little closer to your mouths as you speak and project a little bit more. Thank you. And so let's go, guys. I understand It has been for weeks, under a month. Many people have been calling me and saying, Shenique, millennials are viewing coronavirus and COVID-19 a little differently than the adult population, and they are really causing a challenge for maybe law enforcement, or maybe just sort of bucking against what the suggestions are. And then this, not even suggestions, the directives now, curfew, social distancing, all that. Netino, what is the issue that millennials are bucking against the fact that the government says, listen, practice this. Number 2, stay home. Number 3, there's a curfew in place. What's the challenge with millennials?
Well, there are several challenges with I guess the orders, if you want to call it that. I remember seeing the leaked version of the bill that later became an act. It infringes on human rights. It violates the very constitution of which it's supposed to be a part of. And I think Wayne Monroe challenging again and saying that he's going to put in a petition to challenge the orders of the Prime Minister speaks clearly to that. Because you cannot, within the emergency orders, there are certain things that I think are just injustices against Bahamians.
Give me an example. What is an injustice that you see and you and your friends and associates see as an injustice, and as a result have to say, you all ain't talking to us?
Well, the whole act itself is vague, right? It's vague in a number of ways. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But I'll go to the one that stands out most because it came to my head. The $10,000, right? The $10,000 fine, up to, right? Think about that. Let's think about that now. 60% of Bahamians don't have $10,000 saved.
That's all set flipping on.
But that's not the point.
Yeah, but what's the point? If you ain't have $10,000 and you gotta go try and sell your mommy house to get this $10,000, why can't you obey just for a temporary period?
So I'm supposed to obey people that have lied to me from their very inception of governance? Or you really want me to believe, you want me to believe that the people who lied to me and have consistently lied to me, they just lied to us about Dorian, and we still don't have the numbers on that. But somehow I'm supposed to magically believe that these people have my best interest at heart.
So what is it? So first of all, let's start at the top. The government's whole response and approach to coronavirus.
Lackadaisical, slow, lazy. They still could have done more.
What?
Number 1, I remember my friend came from Miami, and I was expecting him to wait some time because I thought that they would be testing.
Mm-hmm.
They're not testing at the moment.
When did he return?
I can't remember, but it was the week when it just started, and I think he came back 2 days after the numbers had surged in Italy. Mm-hmm. I can't remember exactly, but he came back. He went to Miami, but he came back. They did no testing. They didn't do any testing.
Now, I can agree with you there, Netino, because people today complain. I have a friend who just returned Friday or Saturday, is it Carol? From New York, and then, so here's how the trip happened. From New York to North Carolina to Bahamas. And so you see all that exposure? You see, they say New York is the epicenter. Right. The United States now has as the second hub, basically, after Italy, right? Okay. So you see where he came through, and he was asked, hey, how you doing? Yeah, how you doing? Okay? Come true.
He was not even quarantined.
He was not being told to self-quarantine, to self-isolate. He was not examined. He was not questioned. None of the above. Yeah, but 2 days ago, if that, yeah.
Listen, you could still see planes flying in and out of LPIA. So the question is, watch this now. I saw tents outside, and it looked like they were about to set up. However,
tents outside where?
The
Blakewood facility?
No, not the Blakewood facility. The airport. The airport. Okay. The terminal, the U.S. terminal, the departure terminal. Mm-hmm. I saw them set up, but I never saw no medical professionals out there.
But we can't expect the airport to completely shut down because they have to access the people on the family islands, get their tests, etc. They have to get their tests, be able to send their tests and get their tests. So we can't expect the airport to shut down completely, but we can have something in place to test people who are traveling from the U.S.
But that's all I was asking.
Oh, okay.
For testing.
All right, that's all you
want.
So
hold on, you're trying to say random testing?
Listen, if you
Because I
come,
remember we had to go to doctor's hospital, taking your temperature, and they're asking if you traveled in the last 14 days. And if you did travel, then they are giving you a mask and taking your temperature. I mean,
when is this happening?
I traveled, not traveled. We had to visit doctor's hospital to see somebody in the hospital. That was last week or week before last.
But that's different. That's going in the medical facility, and if somebody who is already perhaps compromised, they don't want you all to be
right. But at least the hospital is doing that.
The
You
hospital.
understand?
Yeah, but we ain't talking about hospital.
we
talking about. Let's say you just came back. Yes.
I said at the very
let's say you
least,
came
though,
back
that's
that
what they're
day.
doing. So they should be doing more as well.
Well, the thing about it is that by the time you get from the airport to the doctor's hospital, you have gone in contact with how many people? But what's happening with the young people? I understand young people are partying, having beach picnics, doing a whole lot of. And I understand the
Latino went
beaches.
to the beach
I
yesterday.
understand the beaches were full over the weekend. But why are y'all doing that?
Disobedient man of God.
That's the thing, right? Okay, so the rules were you can have no more than I think 10 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I abided by that much. Like, I mean.
But what did you see on? Because we can talk.
Okay, yeah, but so it was only 6 of us, right? So we went and it wasn't full, right? And it didn't get full. I think the groups were huddled together, but they were like 3 and 10 feet apart, obviously, because people they're even while they're out there, it's just they're sitting down, just enjoying the weather.
Were there groups larger than 10?
No, I don't remember seeing groups. I saw families, but I don't remember seeing larger than 10.
But I'll tell you this, people also have an issue. They're saying, wait a minute, I don't know, maybe if you by yourself or 2 people go to the beach, fine. But they're saying this is not, you all aren't taking it seriously. For some reason it ain't registering on your head. They're saying that you cannot, as millennials, number one, think it's a different rule for you all. It's ambiguous, I don't understand. The $10,000. The thing is, you cannot, this is not an opportunity to party. How about read a book, college student, university student?
I wasn't partying though, because you can't have, number one is you don't have access to liquor in order for it to be a party. Let's stop there. It's not a party.
You don't need to be drunk to have a party.
You can have
the
a
fact that you have a gathering.
But you're using the word party. Party? No, it wasn't a party.
Sounds like you was an alcoholic Latino. Because when she say party, party don't equal alcohol or alcoholism, bro.
Yeah, I never mentioned that.
So we know what we do.
Well, in any event, I think that when I talk about parties, you would think that you have some kind of liquor involved and you have food. Well, we had chips. That's about it. There was nothing much.
But why is it? Why? Please tell me. What is it? What is going? Because I heard, and the reason I'm happy that I could have you both here today as university students who are in this instance the voice of the millennial out there, or the young people under a certain age. Why is it that going out into, you understand, it was just so very clear and strict to the point that you can't even go over to your neighbor's house. And so stay within the confines of your yard and your home. And so why is it that you all feel the need to, again, sort of congregate where you are and defy order, sort of?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, there are a lot of things, like I said with the bill, I cannot trust everything that's coming out of the government's mouth. I think it's an understatement to say that we don't understand. I think that
But how difficult, even if you don't, I don't understand me. I don't understand everything. In fact, I was reaching out to the Minister of Health today, who was on another show, so I'm trying to still see if I can bring him on and just speak to my audience.
Okay.
So I don't fully understand everything, but what I do understand is, I don't want to go and perhaps expose myself, potentially, to coronavirus, go and take it home to maybe an older relative or somebody or even be responsible for the spread of it.
It's selfish, I think.
You think it's selfish?
I think it's a bit selfish. I think I understand the need to. We're social, so obviously we want to come together, but it's not forever. It's just for a period of time. I think it's selfish because it's not about you, or you're thinking about yourself in the moment and not thinking about the country as a whole and the need for you to stay home, do what you have to do so that this virus could quickly move on and we could move on with our lives. I feel that way.
That's not how the virus works. That's just not, see, and also, like, I find it very ironic, and I'm going to say this, right? I find it very ironic that we could think that us going out on the beach, in spite of, I guess, the orders, is selfish, and we have no problem with the inequalities that we see going around in the Bahamas. You have no problem with 60% of the people being poor, but all of a sudden you have a problem with me potentially spreading a virus. That's kind of ironic.
So you were trying to say that Latino.
That's ironic for me.
You're saying that, hold on, wait. If you can care with me in this instance,
you need to care with me all of.
Show with me that you care about.
Yeah, like hold on. See, all you're doing is piousness, and see that's the contradiction I can't deal with. If you don't care with me and my health, then we should have universal health care, and watch this, and state-of-the-art quality universal health care. Right? We don't have the facilities. Here's the thing, and I think, see, what I don't want y'all to do, don't try to gaslight me. Please don't. Don't do that. Because then you piss me off, right? Do not do that. Because the government of this country does not care about its citizens. If it cared, it would not be stopping or hindering of the accurate information that we need to make informed decisions.
You don't think the government is being as forthcoming and as open as possible with this whole coronavirus pandemic?
I don't. I just told you I don't trust this government.
You don't trust the government?
I don't trust the government.
When you hear numbers in Italy, like for example, over 4,000 deaths, I think the United States now has jumped from 50-something to nearly 350, 400 deaths. When you hear that there are 19 cases in Jamaica, and I think maybe roughly the same in Barbados, and what do you think?
I still waiting on the numbers from Dorian. That's what I think. I still waiting on the number of people who died in Dorian. And until you can give me that, you can't say nothing to me.
Here are some comments. Kenu Haig says the act is shrouded in ambiguity. He says penalties are meant to dissuade you from doing something. People are not having the $10,000 is really the point. People not having the $10,000 is really the point. Exactly. And I thank you, Kenu, because the point is, you know you don't have the 10,000, so then toe the line so that you don't even have to consider having to go and access or somehow find this $10,000.
But I am inside before 9. Mm-hmm. It's just that the time when I can go out, I'm out. Mm-hmm. That's just what it is.
I think, you know what, perhaps it needs to be a bit more clear, because I think the 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. sort of freedom of movement.
9 p.m. to 5 a.m. That's the curfew, right?
Right, but I'm talking about the open window.
Okay.
The 5 a.m. There's one host, thanks.
5 a.m.
There's one host, thanks. I think the 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. open window and freedom of movement, thank you very much, ma'am, and freedom of movement, I think it is for essential services only and movement. I don't think it's for us to go and have a nice lunch party. For us to have a lunch party, etc. You know, a dinner party that in groups. I think perhaps that's what it is. I don't know, sir.
But Shenique, so essential services can't catch coronavirus either. Or all of a sudden they exempt to it.
But some food stores are doing this where they let people in at a time. I think they're really letting in certain, so you have to wait outside, and then after
pharmacies as well.
They've been doing it. Not all the food stores have been doing it now, but some have. So I appreciate that precaution. Mm-hmm. I think something I was going to say to what you were saying. It didn't come to me, so it'll come back to me.
But I
think that's something that all food stores, all essential services should be doing, letting a certain amount of people in at a time.
I have an issue with the police. Why? Watch this. If these orders are as I guess necessary as you guys are advocating for, right? Shouldn't the police also be inside their homes? Why are they outside policing us?
They have to.
They don't have no. They don't have to. They don't have to.
Yes.
See, Shenique, I need us to really think. Why is it the first thing? Why whenever it comes down to something, right? Why is it that the first thing we run to is for the police to police black bodies in particular? And I'm talking about most of the times when we talk about policing places, they're policing the 60% of the people who are mostly poor. Because as we see from what Clint had spoken about Albany, that's a whole different ballgame if you're rich and you're wealthy.
Watch the.
I gotta get the food of the guy.
It's a whole different ballgame. And so the issue here is, you can't have one kind of, I guess, the legislation can't speak to wealthy people in such a way, and they have exceptions.
Yes.
And then the poor people.
I think that was really an Albany
situation.
I think that was an Albany dictate. I really don't think that it was anything any sort of special permission and allocation and whatever for Albany. I think Albany as a community decided this is what they're going to send to their residents, and I'm happy it was exposed.
But has the issue though. The reason why they can operate like that is because of the kinds of concessions that have been made for that development. And when you have a project or a developer who can act in similar ways like the Freeport, like Freeport is, a free trade zone, they can tell their people to do whatever.
True.
So don't do that. Do not do that to me. Do not pander to, don't pander me, don't placate me. Do not play in my face like that.
Even in the face, this is what I was going to say, even in the face of us not getting back all of the information and the reports from Hurricane Dorian, that we rightly deserve to know how much money was donated to the government from people who wanted to help. Even in the face of that, this is a new crisis, right? Nobody could have expected that we would have had to deal with this in this way. Even in the face of that, you could still hold their feet to the fire for that situation. But I feel, as a citizen, what can you do to help the situation now? Even with all your grudges, Latino, and I understand you have a right to be upset, and we have to hold them accountable. The government is only as good as the people who they are serving. So even in the face of all of that, what can you do to help the situation and not make it worse? So not you personally, but each citizen needs to think, okay.
Not you personally. No. You see his views. Don't be afraid to call him out, because he was.
You can call me out. Call me out.
No, I ain't calling him out, because you say you going to the beach and it was only, what, 6 of y'all?
So the point is, Latinos still out and having fun and doing whatever. And so, yes, let me get to some comments.
So he's
today,
wrong.
Ashley Bender, who speaks, thanks.
Even in the face of all that, like.
As I was saying, my conversation today is with 2 University of the Bahamas students, and these are the intelligent, learned. In fact, Ashley was scheduled to graduate this May. She will still do that, but there will be no ceremony, no ring, no pictures, and so she's a little bit, just a little bit like, whoa, I can't, after all this time, 4 years?
5 years.
After my 5-year educational stint at University of Bahamas, I cannot, I'm not going to.
No ceremony.
But I'll tell you this though, Ashley. I firmly believe, even if it has to happen in December, I believe that they will have something for your graduating class.
Okay.
Yeah, I really believe
Everything
that.
will be postponed.
Right, exactly. It's just, everything is just delayed. When we get over this, I firmly believe, and so that's fine.
Yes.
But they represent the millennial voice, and as you can hear, they are quite intelligent. They are not shy and not lost for words, and they each have differing views, differing point of views on the coronavirus, and they're not afraid to express it. They also have a number of other views in terms of how we move ahead from here, and we're going to hear some of those views. Today you are watching an abbreviated conversation with my guests. It's only because, of course, we are practicing our own social distancing, but certainly wanted to just bring a conversation to you. This was brought to my attention at least 2 weeks ago about the millennial voice, and the fact that millennials feel incensed about the fact that, hey, don't tell me what to do and how I can move and when I cannot move. And you heard Natino very powerfully express that and why they feel that way. They have a distrust, he says, of anything that comes from the government. And so for that reason, they are also distrusting the government with this. Let me get to some comments before we move on. Shay Sherelle says, Shenique, it seems like some people are seeing this pandemic as a joke. Do you all see it as a joke, Natino?
No. No. We understand the real world implications of it, right?
So if you understand,
but I've been living here in the Bahamas, right? And maybe it's just me. Now while I speak to some experiences of millennials, I can't speak for everyone, right? You expect me, right? Life in the Bahamas hasn't been the best for me, right? And so if you think that I'm gonna be afraid of dying by a virus when I've been oppressed all my life, then you're sadly mistaken. I would much rather die on my terms, doing whatever I want to do, than have people tell me what to do. See, watch this.
So you were saying, like, seriously, this is the mindset.
For him.
For me. See,
no, for you and many in your group.
Well, maybe many, but my thing is,
People
right? People may see. I need you to understand this, right? If the quality of life is already diminished here,
wow,
you really think adding a virus is gonna help it?
Wow.
Let's be honest. You really think I'm supposed? So hold up, I'm supposed to what? Be even more afraid than I am? If I've spent all my life here in fear, I'm supposed to be more afraid because of
so
virus.
then, Latino, what I am hearing is that there's a certain level of anger just beneath the surface.
Yeah. I tell people this. I definitely, when it comes down to anything that we've done in the Bahamas is regressive, right? We don't take our time to do anything. This piece of legislation was the most, like, this is the most horrible piece of legislation I've ever seen written. This was just the worst. Not well thought out. Very vague.
You think it's vague?
It's vague.
That's what he said. I only repeated it.
It's vague. It's very vague. And listen, and if you talk to policymakers and lawmakers who have crafted other policies, they will tell you.
But it's an emergency. Remember the words emergency? It's an emergency piece of legislation that had to come into effect right away.
The question is, did you consult with the people whose job it is to do this? See, here's the thing. You have lecturers at the University of the Bahamas. You have experts. Did you consult with your Bahamian experts on how to craft the right piece of legislation that balances government's authority against the rights of its people?
Last Wednesday, I think it was last Wednesday when it was brought to Parliament, and if you were watching and waiting as everybody else was because it was delayed, I understand that at that moment they were still meeting with lawyers. And so it's something that, so to your question, I might, yes, the answer is yes.
So the question is, well, if Wakeman was about to put a petition before the court stating that the orders are actually in violation of the Constitution, then I would say that those lawyers were incompetent.
Oh, so Lorena says, where did you find this guy? Wow. Please learn from the American spring breakers who now suffer from COVID-19 due to wanting to get together on the beach. I know you saw it, Latino. They were having their spring break, and they were spring breaking in Florida beaches.
It ain't only us. I think it was a couple other U.S. states. People gathered during this whole curfew and having to stay home, social distancing. They gathered like it's a party, big party.
But and then look at Italy, ladies and gentlemen. Look at Italy, and particularly now the south of Italy. But look at the entire Italy. Yeah. Well, the revolt is happening in south of Italy mainly, I understand. But look at northern Italy. Had they sort of restrict movements earlier, people believe it would not have been the
why y'all so adamant? Y'all really believe that people can't follow instructions if you just tell them to?
Well, obviously y'all can't.
No. See, here's the thing. If you're already gonna oppress me and add more oppressive measures, no, don't do that. No, come on.
Wow,
that's just oppression.
Anastasia.Miller says, we actually see evidence from various countries when not social distancing. Just obey the rule. Shay Sherelle says, this pandemic has nothing to do with government. The fact that internationally we are watching so many lives lost, that should make it easy to follow the advice given here. Anastasia says, and she adds, you have to think about others, not just yourselves.
I think it was Barack Obama who posted, I'm sorry. Oh, you can hear me?
No, you have to put it here so that they can hear you better.
Okay, I think it was Barack Obama who posted a link showing the impact that social distancing would have. I think it was a university. They did research to prove the impact.
A U.S. university?
The positive impact. I don't remember which organization, but I think it was a university or some respected institution. He posted the link and he's showing, for those of you who don't understand the impact of social distancing, this will help you to understand. And so basically in what it said is that if you do social distance, the impact will be less. So it was a chart. So it's showing that if you social distance, the impact of the virus on the population will be less. But if you don't, it'll be higher. So me, as a citizen, if I know that if I do not meet up with family and friends for this certain amount of time, I have no problem staying where I'm supposed to stay in order to help not only myself, but my country, and those around me, so that you know the impact it's having on the tourism industry. That's another thing I think that you said we're going to get to later. But if the quicker we get over this, how many people being sent home? And last week,
you talk about Atlantis, but let's just kind of let me get to some comments first, and then we'll kind of shift to tourism, and then after we will shift to how do we pick up beyond this.
Okay.
So let me just get to some more comments. Lisa. Let's just see. Lysandra Cartwright-Knoll says, Grammy say, if you don't listen, you can feel. Lisa King says, leaders around the world from big developed countries with millions of people are urging their citizens to stay at home. Can you imagine if our small nation starts to get more and more cases of this dreaded virus? We should all stay home to protect ourselves. This is not political. It is learning wisdom. Anastasia says there's two different extremes here. It's either life or death. I understand the gentleman in a way, but this here is a pandemic. So Lorena Schwartz or Charez says Italy just closed non-essential businesses today after losing thousands of people. They just did that today, Lorena, because I think now we live ahead of them, because we did that since the initial like spas, salons, clothing stores,
jewelry stores,
everything is closed. But I'm happy to hear that they should have been closed.
They should have done that from long time.
Yeah, because it's really boy. And she says this virus is showing just how nasty humans are. She continues, hard head bird don't make good soup. Lord, she gotta be old people journey.
That's it down.
And so let's just get to another. Make them stay in 24/7. This is what Lysandra Cartwright is saying. Make them, and that right here.
See, the fact that I have a problem, right? The fact that we always have to resort to these violent measures to get black people in line, because that's the majority of the Bahamian populace, black people. The fact that we think that the first thing we have to do is run to policing measures is endemic of the kind of idea about how life is supposed to be. We've gotten so comfortable with people initiating not just physical violence, but structural violence upon us, that we're just okay. We just want to follow, we're okay thinking that the government doing what they're doing, it's the right thing to do.
But don't you see, for example,
that's not the issue.
Don't you see what is happening, say, in Italy? They have had to call out the army. There are many countries reinforcing giving the police reinforcements to be able to keep people at home where they're supposed to be.
I believe, right, and maybe I'm just a part of the people who are on the other side of the coin, right? I've seen what the police in this country have done with the little bit of power they have.
So you're saying another thing that this act does is give police too much power?
It gives the Prime Minister unfettered power that he already has to do whatever he wants to do, and we saw it last night with Clint. They're violating the Constitution and all, and you know what we're arguing about? Me being on the beach while your rights are being impeded. That's what we're doing. Your rights were taken away when they didn't allow Clint to go on the street.
Let's see. Let's go to another comment.
Shay
Sharan says, police officers are different from us, young man.
No, they're not.
When you become an officer, you have officially agreed to work in the midst of crisis, turmoil, anything of a country, just like doctors who have to now work during this as well. Here Lorena says, OMG, where you all find this child? Black bodies? This is the majority black nation. This isn't a US essay where you have to defend an unpopular opinion.
Well, that's what I'm doing. This is called a debate, darling.
Lorena says, police officers aren't the only essential services working. Anastasia.miller says, I think this young lady is making a lot of sense. Hello to you, Estelle Knowles, and thank you so much for streaming live today. By the way, please share the video. Continue to comment. I will try to get to as many comments as possible. Today, my special guests on this abbreviated show today are students from the University of the Bahamas. They are majoring in psychology, and what's your major? History, and your major?
English and Spanish.
English and Spanish. And so this one here is graduating like in another couple months, which has been pushed back. the ceremony, rather. And also, Latino grad has 1 more year. And
no,
so,
1 more semester.
Oh, 1 more
Don't do
semester.
that. Semester.
I know how you feel. I know how you
Italian.
feel because I was like, 1 more year, don't you ever, I'm a senior. The grad don't pay me, but no 1 more.
Yeah,
But I totally get that. But today they're expressing the millennial view. And the millennial view is this. And it's obviously, it's not just here locally. You've seen it in the United States. Spring breakers say, excuse me. We know with this coronavirus, but we gonna party. We going on the beach. We do what we gotta do. And so they are expressing the millennial view here in the Bahamas, and just to kind of really have a better understanding of why they do what they do, why they think that way. Natino, I know you're itching to say something. I know Ashley wanted to jump in. Ashley?
No, but you were talking about the spring breakers, and I saw a video with I think it was in Miami, but they were videotaping the spring breakers, asking them what's happening to you? Why aren't you adhering to the rules? They say, we're here on spring break. We don't care. We don't care about a little coronavirus. We want to have a good time. Blah, blah, blah. And then somebody commented afterwards and say, everybody in this video looks sick.
Oh dear.
So.
See, but that's problematic, right? And I was trying to think of trying to get this thought together, right? It's similar, like the rhetoric that I've heard around coronavirus has been similar to that of HIV and AIDS, right? When you have conversations about HIV and AIDS, right, just using it as a jump off point to corona, right? A lot of people will say, oh well, if you have sex with multiple partners, that puts you at risk, right? You're more at risk. Mm-hmm. But the truth of the matter is, when you look at the statistics, the statistics do not bear that out, right? Because you have to factor in what kind of sex you're having. Is it vaginal? Is it anal? And then afterwards, when you factor in that, you still have to take into account the number one ways in which to contract HIV and AIDS is not through sexual intercourse, but rather through blood transfusion and needle sharing. So all I'm saying is that the coronavirus situation, especially in the minds of millennials,
it is still. Oh, let me hear this.
In the minds of millennials, it's a bit more nuanced than what I've heard is an oversimplification, right? Right now we do not have a cure, and until a cure comes about, the likelihood of it spreading, yes, we understand that there's a need for social distancing, right? But if I'm on the beach, right, and I'm 3 feet away, or having similar to this kind of setup here, how am I endangering somebody if I'm under the recommended 10 limit, but I'm also
Natino, did you hear this? And see, it is still so new, and sort of like it's taking a new shape every so often, that it's airborne. And so it's so many sort of it's so many variables about it is so many variables about this virus that you don't want to take a chance. Yes, if you have sex, in the beginning, when HIV first came out, oh my God, if you brush up against him or her, you could. What I'm saying is, it's so until it becomes very, very clear, then you have to take all protections. A part of the protections in this country and others is, listen, keep your distance. I think it's 3 feet. Keep your distance, number one. Number two, social distancing, yes, which that is. Number two, stay home. If you got to go and do some essential stuff, get those done, and then stay home, that kind of thing. Number three, the laws, as perhaps as imperfect as they may be in the eyes of millennials and anybody else, are still there to, from an inceptional kind of point of view, to keep us safe and to prevent the spread of this, which the Ministry of Health believes. Sorry, Ashley. See, I believe Ashley knows what he does. Here's the rule. Here's the rule. Notice what he does. When I open my mouth, he shuts up.
Okay.
If you interrupt me one more time,
I'm sorry. You gonna stand up.
But I'm the rebellious one, right? You see?
You heard the Ministry of Health say that they expect a surge. And so you want to not number one be in the number of the surge, and number two help the surge happen. Still not sold?
No.
Ashley, so you sold.
And I think that I agree with you. While we're trying to figure out the nature of this virus and how it is spreading, etc., while all of that is happening, let's take the precaution so that we don't put ourselves in jeopardy to catch it. That's how I feel.
I just feel, right, when you have a piece of legislation like that, let me go back. Let me back up. Because while you were talking, I was thinking about Martin Luther King Jr. He said that there are unjust laws, right? And I believe that the Emergency Powers Act is an unjust law. And he says that wherever there are unjust laws, it is your duty to stand up and break those laws. So I'm not gonna follow a law that takes away my rights. That's nonsensical to me. And we see it happen. So y'all worried about catching the coronavirus. Well, that's where your focus is. I'm a bit more worried about my rights being taken away, because if this situation persists, I was having a conversation with my father. I said, what is life gonna look like if this condition exists? Yes. So if this condition exists, every night at 9 p.m. I'm gonna have to be inside, right? And I'm following that, right? Because number one, because I ain't got the $10,000. Number two, I could probably do the time, legit. I could probably do it.
It's only 18 months. It's
only 18 months, right? But I don't have 18 months to waste, right? I could probably do that just to prove a point, right? But I need you to understand that y'all are looking at it down and I'm looking at it up. So y'all taking a top-down approach. I'm doing a down-up approach. I'm looking back at the government. So I'm already down. I'm already being oppressed. The only place for me to do is look up. And I say that the government there are several issues with the Emergency Powers Act. Now, if y'all want to come and beat me up about me not, me putting, y'all at risk, you can do that. But it still won't change the fact that they violated our rights. It won't. And y'all are, see, my problem is y'all aren't even incensed about that. Now that's the real crime. That's the injustice.
The fact that rights are being infringed upon.
Yeah, but see, hold up. You know what? Everybody just wanted to have entertainment. Everybody just want to watch Clint ride up and down the streets. See, this is my problem. So no one's thinking about what the long-term repercussions. Everybody, Corona, Sister-Rona. That's all we're talking about.
But you don't think that these temporary, you're saying you don't trust the government enough to say these measures now are temporary.
They're not, watch this. They've done this before, right? Let's look at it, right? They said that they weren't going to raise VAT. And let me, I think one of your comments was, this is not political. Well, darling, I hate to tell you this. Everything that you're doing is political. This is political. Having discourses in your house is political. Everything that you're doing within the bounds of the Bahamas is governed under the Constitution.
Because what's the true definition of politics? Human issues.
Human issues, right? So everything you do, from the clothes you wear to the way you wear your hair, all of that is political. So please dispel that notion. Everything that we're doing here is political. We're speaking because we want to help to hopefully inform and change. And I'm not here to offer the same kinds of opinions that I see being regurgitated. I'm not here for that. I'm here to also offer dissenting opinion. And I want to give a different perspective. Yes, you may believe that. Watch this, you may believe that I'm putting you at risk, right? But the truth of the matter is, what I don't understand is that how are people not as passionate about their rights being stolen from them with the enacting of this Emergency Powers Act?
And ladies and gentlemen who are streaming today's show, an abbreviated one, and we're going to shift gears in a second. But this is the point of view I wanted to introduce and bring to the platform today. The fact that millennials, not just here, you've seen videos and news clips from really around the world, but particularly just up north in the United States, of spring breakers, somewhat, not as eloquently and as powerfully, but expressing this same point of view in a different way. Oh, we're here to party, we don't care about the coronavirus. And so I wanted to get to the bottom of where millennials, where they come from? Why y'all extra special and need extra catering to? What's the thought behind it? And so you hear the thought behind it. You hear the fact that a young man like Latino, for example, is saying, no, Shenique, here is the thought behind it. My rights are being violated. I don't trust it. I feel this is perhaps a precursor to something else. And so you hear it, and he's not shy to express it. He's not shy to verbalize it. And so now you all understand. I know Ashley brought up a short while ago, about tourism, but let's just kind of look at what's happening in tourism. Yes, the hotels are closing. Atlantis, I think, well, certainly the Bahama property, which includes Malia and the Bahama property center, I think about 6,000 employees. I think it's a month that they've been given off. They are expected to be re-engaged following this. Atlantis, I think about 8,000 employees, also given a month off. The Sandals Properties, which has a property here and in Exuma, I think this coming Friday, if I have my facts right, will be there, or Friday gone, was or will be their last day of operation, I think for a month as well. They also have a property in Jamaica, and I guess other spots around the Caribbean. And so this is what you're hearing. A number of properties are shutting down. Someone mentioned earlier, could have been Pamela Williams, I forgot the commenter, that the air and seaports are still open. The government hasn't gone as far as to say those are closed, but certainly with the United States Embassy just yesterday putting something out there urging its citizens who are here in this country to leave now, because U.S. airlines are going to be shutting down and lessening they've already cut substantially their flying routes, and they expect to basically, I guess, come to really a standstill. That's going to happen. And so you just can imagine, even though our borders are not officially declared closed, that they basically closed. And so tourism then is something that's been a bread and butter since, I guess, before independence, since the rule in Simonette, which was the UBP days. And it served us well. It's been fantastic. But as university students who are seniors in university and about to enter the job market or the corporate structure of the Bahamas, your thoughts about the need now to somehow diversify, somehow deepen what still is a very surface tourism product for Bahamians, to somehow, I don't know, become more entrenched in that somehow?
No. No.
Just no.
No?
We already talked about this.
Just no.
Tourism,
We talked about this a lot.
Yeah, we talked about it last show. So tourism is a plantation. It's a neo-plantation model, and I'm not here for that. I'm. If you haven't got it yet, I'm very much against any oppressive measures, like oppressive structures that continue to.
So how do you see the big resorts, right in Nassau, for example, that employ thousands of people?
Plantations. Just neo-plantations. That's all it is, plantations. They're literally, watch this, again, we've never had a Bahamian own a major hotel chain here in the Bahamas.
So the majority of the money that is made at those resorts leave the
country
anyhow, which is crazy to me.
We're also
a country that has had tourism as its #1 industry from 1973.
No, before that, from the 1920s. From the 1920s. You have to understand that. So that's the kind of model that, and again, where did tourism come from? Who started that? Massa.
Sir Roland Simonette?
Massa.
You call it Sir Roland Simonette?
Massa.
Here it is, as I weave us all out of this. Pauline Cooper says, if the young man was going down by himself, I would let him. He is being very irresponsible. Let's just see. Darcy Antonia Moss. Does this guy understand the leader makes decisions for the country? Consult the people. He was elected by the people to perform, is what she is saying, and to make decisions.
That's actually erroneous, right? If you check the election, all the people that actually voted in the election, that was one of the most worst turnouts ever recorded.
He was still duly elected by the
people. No. So that makes a difference. See, again, y'all gotta stop this. That's a nuanced conversation, right? How many people registered to vote in that election? Check the facts. If you look at it from year to year, then that number decreased.
Listen to me, it could be 10 people registered.
That don't mean that they have the voice of the country.
Yeah, but so the voice of the country decided to sit on the sidelines.
No.
If 10 people registered and they went to vote, and 8 said, guess what, we vote him in, then that's the majority.
That's not the majority. That's not how it works.
But you don't have a voice if you don't register.
Where you get this rhetoric from?
You do not.
That's not true.
You cannot go and complain and agitate.
I can. I'm here on your show doing it.
You didn't register.
I didn't vote.
But then so your voice is null and void.
But yet here I am. So obviously, and I watch this. Does that stop me from having to pay VAT? Does that stop me from having to contribute to national insurance?
But not
Don't
registering, Latino, but not registering. See, had you registered and voted, maybe it could have turned out differently.
No. Listen, I made a conscientious decision as someone. Herbert Spencer, in his book, talks about the right to ignore the state. I ignored the state on that day. I did not register. That is my right. Listen, what y'all
So you're anti-establishment, anti-everything.
No, I'm anti-establishment. I'm anti-capitalist because I think we see what's happening. Capitalism is flailing and it's holding on for dear life. That's all it's doing.
Yeah.
And I watch this and watch this. I'm having a ball laughing because finally we can see now that there are other alternatives.
Yeah. I want Ashley to respond to that in just a second to what he's saying. Like, listen, he's anti-everything. He did.
I don't say everything.
He did everything.
I everything.
So Leanna says, I admire this young man's candidness. RM Minor says, this young man is dangerous. Lord help him. Lord help. Ashley, what are you saying? What are you saying? You hear that Tino said, listen, I vote. I elected not to. But Ashley, you have to hold it up always because I don't want it to interfere with the speakers. Okay. I elected not to, and I still have every right to speak to every and any issue. Do you understand when people say, Ashley, that guess what? No, you didn't vote. You didn't have a voice there. So now your voice is like it doesn't matter.
Why did you not register to vote?
Well, see, thank you, Ashley, for that question.
Why did you not register?
I did not register because I saw no candidate that met or spoke what I believe to be the way forward.
And if you felt like if you registered, anybody who you would have voted for would not have been your true choice.
No,
they wouldn't have had your.
The closest person that would have come to doing that, and I would have voted for, I would have gone to the polls just for Loretta Butler Turner.
Just for Loretta Butler Turner.
Here is Sonia Foster in Florida. People are so angry in Florida because the governor won't order a stay-at-home declaration. I just heard our commissioners say that they need more information to make this decision. How much more information do they need? People are steadily getting sick. Shake my head.
See, but here's the thing, right? And I need her to understand, yes, that may look like the right thing to do, but they're moving off of the information and they're trying as best to make sure that when they make a decision, it's based on the facts and the evidence. What we did was we didn't even have no facts. We just said, police these people, the majority black people, and then afterwards...
So hold on, wait, 1 second, let me just interject right there. You were saying majority black people just go home. What you doing out there? So then what? What, do you have information that the white sector of this country out and about foraging?
I don't... Remember we were talking about Albany though? That sets a precedent. So you really don't think that if you have more money in the Bahamas that somehow it is better for you? Because last time I checked, it's only better in the Bahamas is if you white or you got money. Large sums of money. Either that or you the prime minister or one of these big pimps in the political parties or in the pulpit, whichever one of you're choosing.
Miranda Innes says his ignorance is shining bright. There's nothing wrong with being opinionated, but please present an informed opinion. You do not have to consult stakeholders to call a state of emergency. It's a matter of public safety. God help his ignorance. May he not jeopardize himself, his family, and the extended community.
Well, I mean, see to that, so she's saying that I'm ignorant, right? He had to consult stakeholders. Watch this, he's a gynecologist. That's a specialty. And while he has some knowledge, you want multiple minds in the room to figure out the best solution forward. And I'm saying that we don't have a culture of that. How is that ignorant? We don't have a culture of that. We don't have a culture of thinking through ideas. You know what our first solution is? To tax the poor. Whenever we think about it, that's all they did. And I'm sorry, I do not trust this government. I'm not sorry. Sorry. Not sorry.
Not sorry. I was going to speak to what you were saying earlier about being anti-capitalist, how you are anti-capitalist. I remember I was studying, this was in one of my history classes, and we were looking at different economic systems over periods of time. Mm-hmm. And one conclusion that I did arrive at was that no economic system in and of itself is perfect, like what we have seen in the world: socialism, capitalism, what else is there? Anyways, after we did a survey of the different economic systems and seeing how they were implemented in different countries, my conclusion that I came to was that, and I think that the class the class came to this conclusion was that we wished that we could create a good economic system. But even in the midst of all of them, capitalism was the least preferred. Why I didn't prefer socialism and why I probably would lean more towards it is that it doesn't allow entrepreneurship. So you can't have your own business in the models that we studied in history at that time. Because it's not the same now.
Yeah, right? I was just going to say, because we have China is one. China is a socialist. It's communist. It's communist because they're different. Communism and socialism are two different things.
Right.
But it's communist, but they have free market.
Right.
Which means that you can't own businesses there. Mm-hmm. So they've broken the mold, right? In that regard. Right. That didn't happen.
That's how it's different from socialism.
But I was also going to point out too, we also could look to, and although it's communism, you could look to Cuba. It's another form. It's another way of doing things.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
All I want for us is being to do.
But I think in Cuba you can't have your own business. Right. Yeah. So I think I understand what you're saying though. We can adopt a model and then make modifications for ourselves. But at the end of the day, what is our market? You understand?
Well, this is what we're going to talk about because again, this is an abbreviated show today. We're going to wrap up at 5:30. In fact, we were supposed to wrap up a little before then, but we'll go until 5:30. Let me get to some more comments. Okay. Jay Rashad says, Canada has now started to implement the rules that the Bahamas government has already done. If the larger, more established countries find that social distancing and curfews are a necessity, the Bahamian people should not feel victimized. Also, our people, the Bahamian people, are just too carefree and don't take things seriously. There are people dying thousands and thousands around the world. Therefore, if the Bahamas experiences issues on the magnitude of other countries, we will be you're right. You're absolutely. You make a great point, Jay. And so that is a part of not wanting it to mushroom. Lorena says, I'm a millennial and I don't mind the curfew. Only children whine and cry about what's necessary. As adults, we really need to start being responsible and thinking responsibly. Anastasia says, the pictures shown appeared as if they were just a bunch of people piled up on the beach. Yes, it were huge crowds all over the beach all weekend. Maybe the beach you were on socially distanced. No.
No, legit. No, there weren't that. Well, I went.
The beach that you were at.
Well, yeah, the one where I was at was it was.
You all were practicing.
Yeah, so there, like I said, there was space. Yes, we were practicing that. So I mean, I get it. I get the concern. I do. I don't want you to think that, but at the same time, you can't call me ignorant just because I don't believe the same things that you believe, and I have these differing of opinions. I'm not out here calling you ignorant. I just really believe that you believe what you believe. I don't agree with it. This is why we're having the discussion, the dialogue.
Be respectful
right.
at the same time. I'll have a different opinion.
Yeah, Brene Fernando says he's defending his rights now because COVID-19 isn't spreading to the Bahamas. If we had more cases, I think his opinion might be different.
No.
Marie Cunningham says curfews are to ensure safety. Why is it a problem? I don't get it. So listen, guys, as we come up to 5:30, let's shift. Here's some. Anastasia says, so correct. You helped the Prime Minister to be here.
Yeah, well, right? So if we could go back, I think the comment before where the curfew, right? So the whole issue and what everybody has been saying, a lot of the point, this is the point that I kind of got to, right? So if we have this curfew in the night, does coronavirus stop
it
spreading at night all of a sudden?
Does it stop spreading at day?
Yeah, does it stop spreading at day? See, this is my issue. You have police officers who can be carriers of this. When they come in contact with the people, let's say they're out there, right? When that picture surfaced, right? Of all of them packed in this one place to listen for orders. Where was the social distancing then? See, this is my issue. This is my issue. I get it.
You mean when they were in the building getting their brief?
He means when they
yeah, when they getting brief. Hold on, you can watch it. Right then and there, we don't know how many of them could have gone there. We don't.
Have they been tested?
Have they been tested? Are they being tested? These are the things
that the temperatures being taken.
So my thing is, you're putting, watch this. The fact that we don't see that we're putting these people at risk by them being out on the street, but we're more concerned about them policing us, is scary for me. That's scary.
But again, someone mentioned earlier that is what they signed up for.
No, they did not allow.
A society without law and order. Yes, Natino.
No.
A society without law and order is what? chaos.
No.
Frontline workers, unfortunately, are always going to probably be
exposed,
risk, but they have to have the
But hold up.
the equipment.
How come that never enters the conversation? What if they're the ones?
We're talking about it now.
No, but we're talking about it now. Everybody does not see that as a problem. They could be the impetus for the spread, not me.
Yeah.
Very true. Troy Edward Clark says, this young man sounds, I don't want to say it. I don't know what he is saying. So people say you need another planet to live on. Lorena says, if you didn't vote, you do not, pardon me, let me start again.
Okay.
If you didn't vote, do you have a right to be upset with the outcome?
Yes, I do. Because I pay back. I still pay back. I still pay NIB if I'm working. I still have to do all those things. I had to pay my car insurance. I had to license. I had to do all of that, just like you. So I still could complain.
I thank you all for streaming today. Please share the video. Continue to comment. I am really trying to get through as many as possible. We are wrapping up. This is an abbreviated show today. We are wrapping up in a few minutes. But let me just get to some more comments. Jasper Hayward says, it's not the curfew that's the problem. It's the huge looming list of potential orders that it's a huge list of the potential orders that came first, such as the spontaneous requisition of buildings and property. This is another millennial talking. The spontaneous requisition. Is this somebody in my field?
But she works in media. Yes.
Okay,
I thought I knew this. One of them. Yeah.
No, I figured this was her.
Yeah.
So she said it is the hi Jasper. By the way, she's my colleague.
Yeah.
So she says, as the spontaneous requisition of buildings and property, not to mention the power that was intended for the police to stop and arrest and detain without a reason. Also, insertion of the fake news order was suspect.
Yes.
Now that part, Jasper, and Jasper, you and mainstream, that part, the fake news, and I want to know what you all think, because obviously being a get to the other aspect of today's show, because we will wrap up after right about here. But the fake news, how did that strike the Now, before the two of you all jump in.
Go ahead.
And Jasper would know this as somebody who is mainstream. What goes out there from WhatsApp to what's posted, it is so insightful, it is frightening. Many people are just having issues with the fake news. I hate that hashtag. but what's being put out there, some people intentionally being irresponsible, and it really does a country no good. Now, what are your thoughts?
Well, see, my thing is that particular. Notice how they stealthily put that right in there, right? After we heard the Speaker of the House Assembly, House and Moultrie, make the most misogynistic comments, the sexist comment that he made pertaining about rape. It was.
What did he say?
Remember when he made the comments about the husband can't rape the man because
so I can't comment.
Yeah, so the husband can't rape the wife because his belief is that in the Bible that they're one flesh. So that means they can't, think of. He said that.
Okay.
After that, he received a storm, a surge, a backlash from Bahamian people who were just upset, mostly women, that he would even say something callous like that, right? Because he was inserting his religious opinion within the political kind of sphere, and that's what they were, talking about. Then we've had numerous of other ministers make these statements.
No, it was mainly him. Now,
yes, mainly him.
Yeah, a lot of fake news was going out there that unwarranted, I feel, because we know the players, and social media will always be what it is. Yes, be responsible. Yes, not cause it to a fear and incite panic in a society. But we know the players and the foolishness they do. Not that it gives them any right. But I understand what you're saying, because it's like he's been lamenting on this use of social media for a minute, and now to just, like you say, have that.
And not only that, remember with the way that he did, he dealt with the other Jasper, who's another colleague, I think, in the House of Assembly when he confiscated her phone. See, that, yes.
The Speaker did that?
Yes. He did that. And so watch this. They're taking a page out of the American president's book and attacking the press. That's what they're doing. They're trying to silence and muzzle.
That is why I hate the term fake news, because it's him who brought it out.
It's unfortunate what they did with Clinton last night as well. He was not allowed to go out at all, right?
When the act provides
for him.
And the Prime
But of
Minister
course-
released a statement saying that he would be allowed to go, well, not just him, but media and news outlets would be allowed to go and do what they have to do, and then the police come and stop him. So who are we supposed to be listening to, or who is supposed to be giving the orders?
But see,
Is it the Prime Minister, or is it the police?
the Commissioner of Police. Hold on. See, that right there, for me, shows that there's inconsistency. Because here it is. Now, either they playing circus with us, and they know what's going on, or someone was defying the direct orders of the Constitution.
Well, the police officers and they were obviously corrected by it, and which is good, and so they've been set straight. And guys, we have 4 more minutes. I don't want to belabor the conversation further because I know I promised an abbreviated show. Number one, and number two, I know that you all got to get some stuff done before 9 o'clock.
Yes.
So I don't want to keep you all here at all. So let us just maybe have a couple of comments to wrap up, and let's wrap up this way then. In terms of how we move forward, you have a disdain for what you call the plantation model that's existed since before independence. How should Bahamians begin thinking and planning and strategizing post-coronavirus in terms of our economy?
I think we need to invest in the agricultural sector. We need food security should be at the top of our list now. It should be. Like that's the first thing we need to look at, right? And I don't understand how we've been existing on importations. Like 90% of what we consume is imported, right? And if you're serious about my health as you say you are, then you should be advocating for this. Okay, you don't agree with everything I say. If y'all so concerned about health, y'all so concerned about catching the corona, jump on this bandwagon, food security for the Bahamas.
And I think that's why BAMC was such a good idea.
Yes.
BAMC and Irish was such a good idea.
Yes.
And I don't feel that we should, just because something comes from a certain political party, you should look at it and say, oh, we come from them, so we don't want it. If it is good, if it is effective, if it works, no matter who brings it to the table, institute it and let's run with it. BAMC is an excellent idea.
Let's build on it.
Let's build on it instead of taking away from it. I feel that probably if it had more support, it would be even more successful than it is. But I honestly, like you, cannot understand how we've been importing 90% of our food for so long.
To the tune of $1 billion plus a year.
For so long.
But think about it,
I
right?
can't even wrap my mind around it.
But think about it, Shenique. If we grow our food here, that cuts the cost of living tremendously.
And when you eat locally, the health benefits are so much more. Number one. Number two, you know how it's being grown.
Yep.
Many times where things come from, unless you can afford organic, you can't really, you're not sure of how it's grown, or we know how it's grown, GMOs and all that stuff. And so you guys are right. I love the fact, Ashley, you touched on something that we don't even have the time to go into, but we need to, because I would like to know, millennials also, you all think along the lines when we talk about continuous government, of if you have a great idea that you introduce, Latino, you have no issue with carrying it on.
No. Watch this. If it works, and it's working well, I'm all about ideas. The best ideas that work and that stop the dysfunction, I'm for it. It's not a matter of political parties for me. It's a matter of progressiveness. It's a matter of moving forward. It's a matter of the future and what that looks like for all Bahamians who are born here. And so, but here's the thing, right? I'll tell you one thing that we have to look at if we're going to be serious about agriculture, right? And I've been championing this idea, right? If we look at this immigration, I put in quotation marks, right? Problem, right? Most of the people coming from Haiti who are migrating here, they're coming from the northern coast, right? And the northern coast, they are very skilled farmers. So what if we created a work program that allows the remittances to be sent home or with them, that allows them to stay here for 3 months, 6 months, and then they go back home with some money in their pockets. But we grow our agricultural industry. And if needs be, we could think about what, in the meantime, while we're doing that, we could think about the possibility of regularization and naturalization of people who have been born here.
But certainly start at the whole work permit, and because to grow a farming industry, that right there has so many spin-offs, and we feed ourselves, And that is an entire different industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it really can feed us and do well. Guys, I know it's for 5:30. I have to leave. I thank you all so much for streaming today. Thank you for watching. Today's show was a conversation with millennials, and these millennials are students of the University of the Bahamas, and they're very powerfully, eloquently, and really, really, without mincing words or fear of expression, told us how the millennials see everything that's taken place from the Corona emergency orders and the act and what is now law or what is now temporary law. They express their thoughts on that and exactly how millennials view it. And those views and sentiments expressed today, as you can see, are being mirrored, particularly in North America, in the United States. You see that's being mirrored there. And so it was good just to kind of have them here and have them talk about their points of view and how they see everything. And boy, it was a lot to chew on. As we end and wrap up today's show, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's watching. Let me see if I can get a comment. Jasper says, sustainability and peace and prosperity for all. Lorena says, the camera lady needs a bonus. Let me tell you, Lorena, you don't understand. The tripod that we use is not here. And so she has had for the entire 1 hour and 30 minutes had to hold it in her hand like this. And so so a bonus is putting it mildly. And Cara Ellis, thank you very, very much. Another millennial, thank you very, very much. Let's see what she says. She says, Mr. Natino and lady, Ashley, see you around politics in the next 15 to 20 years. Some fine tuning is necessary, but you're on your way. Absolutely, you're on your way. Since Shenique and Clint want to remain in media, but I'll tell you, Shenique has no political aspirations, Lorena. None. Troy says, remember, we are not to be outdoors. And that's Troy, that's why we're wrapping up right now, because, we can be home by 9. Troy says, remember, we are not to be outdoors before the curfew, only the most necessary. That is right, that's what I was saying. Necessary things to do if we have to be out, and then, of course, practice social distancing. I thank you all so much. Thank you for tuning into today's show. It was really going to be an hour. And of course, I just let, Ashley and Latino talk and share their points of view, which was very interesting just to hear, and just to hear really their thoughts and where they're coming from. And so I am so appreciative that, number one, they joined me today, that you joined me today, and also thank you, Cara Ellis, as well. Guys, thank you so much. Continue to share the video. I appreciate each of your comments. I tried to get to as many of them as possible. I absolutely thank you so much for watching today. Have a great evening, everyone.